Mailbag time. First mailbag of the year. Your week one questions right here. Fantasy football at cbsi.com and on Apple Podcasts. And we thank you very much for your 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. Always appreciate it. Adam Azer here. Usually this is a Ben Gretsch show, but we are swapping out Ben's. We're going with Shraggy B. What's up, Ben Schrager? Welcome to the mailbag.
Football is back. Mailbag is back. Ask FFT is back. I am excited. It's going to be a great weekend. Happy to answer as many questions as possible.
And Ben Schrager's back. This is actually Ben Schrager's off day, and he's taking time to be on the podcast.
Oh, how kind. Just to hang out with you, Adam.
What a guy. Yes. We should hang out if we're allowed to see each other anytime.
Yeah, we live, a couple hours away right now?
Right now, yeah, a couple hours away. All right.
Let's do it. Maybe one time we'll get a beer and a water.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds like a plan to me. All right, we got news and notes for you. Wide receivers. Mike Evans could be a game-time decision. Kenny Golladay didn't do much in practice. Doesn't look great for Kenny Golladay against the Bears. Cortland Sutton doesn't look great for Cortland Sutton on Monday night, and you might have to make that decision on Sunday. So what do you think, Ben? You're going to sit right now as a Friday afternoon. Remember, we're recording this Friday afternoon, everybody. Would you be sitting Evans, Golladay, and Sutton?
Sutton, the only way I'm playing him is if I have Jerry Jeudy or someone else in the top 35 range that plays on Monday night as a little insurance. Otherwise, I can't touch Sutton. It doesn't look like he's likely to play at this point. Evans, I really want to play. And if he does play, he is a top 15 matchup. Top 15 wide receiver. So I'm starting Mike Evans. I'm still starting, Ridley, Woods, Kupp over Evans, but I want to start him. Golladay, if active, also in that same range, high-end wide receiver 2 this week. But if he's inactive, Marvin Jones becomes a must start.
Yeah, I'm a little more nervous about Mike Evans just because of Marshawn Lattimore, who really crushed Evans last year. So I was like kind of one of those situations where you would have had to start him. He's Mike Evans. You took him in the 3rd round, but you knew could be one of his tougher weeks. Now with the hamstring injury, I'm hoping I don't have to make that decision. I'm hoping he just doesn't play, and I don't have to make that decision.
I mean, one guy like Keenan Allen was going a round or 2 later, or maybe even 3 rounds in our draft. He's got Cincinnati. I'd rather play Keenan Allen than Mike Evans.
Yeah, same. Brandon Ayuk more likely to play than Deebo Samuel, but I don't think you should be starting those guys.
George Kittle.
Yeah. Miles Sanders not certain to play, so make sure your Boston Scott is rostered, and maybe Corey Clement could get some work too. Would be I actually, the reason why I never got fully on the Boston Scott bandwagon was I wasn't sure what they would do if Miles Sanders was out. I didn't know if they would give Corey Clement like 8 to 10 carries. I didn't think they would just necessarily turn it over to Boston Scott. I hope I don't have to find out. But let's keep an eye on that one. And Miles Sanders, that he's not in the top 12 right now for a reason. Because
Clement also coming off an injury and won't be 100% for Sunday. So I'm starting Boston Scott with confidence if Sanders is out.
All right. David Montgomery practiced in full. He's questionable, but when you practice in full basically all week, means you're probably going to play. So I guess like if Miles Sanders plays and David Montgomery plays against the Lions, who would you start?
You're going Sanders.
Yes, you are. Chicago defensive end Robert Quinn is questionable. Devontae Parker is going to play at New England. Hesitation.
Not a great matchup. I don't want to start him, but you may have to if you've got an Evans, a Golladay inactive.
Yeah, and Jarvis Landry, it doesn't seem like he's someone that you should be confident starting. He said his week 1 playing time is going to depend on Cleveland's game plan. Remember, he's coming back from major hip surgery. So be cautious with Jarvis Landry, who's facing the Ravens anyway.
No, you don't want to play him.
And James Robinson looks set for a pretty big workload. So James Robinson or Miles Sanders?
Sanders, but Robinson is a sneaky flex play, and I'm starting him at RB2 in 2 non-PPR leagues. I don't think he's going to.
You're in 2 non-PPR leagues?
One's non, one is 0.1 PPR.
I made a mistake the other day. Jamie, as a commissioner of our podcast league, I set up decimal scoring for the first time because welcome to, the 1900s, basically. And Jamie said to me, why are the quarterback projections so low? And I knew what I did. And I set it up 0.04 fantasy points for every 25 yards instead of for every 1 yard.
Every 1 yard.
Yeah. But I changed it. We're all good. But 0.1 PR is very weird and probably not worth doing.
No, it's strange, but that's my oldest standing league, and you treat it like non-PPR. But you do know how many catches a guy has. 7.7 points.
Oh, it's
That's got
not
his 7
decimal
catches.
scoring otherwise?
It is decimal scoring, but you see the yards, 70 yards, 7 catches. You could do the math, but yes, it's pretty much non-PPR.
Usually I promote things, but I just promote what Ben tells me to promote. So what are we promoting today?
Big promotion Sunday. You can get your questions answered in many different ways on Sunday. On Twitter, use the hashtag AskFFT. One of our experts will be online all morning long answering Twitter questions. You go on Twitch, 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Adam and Chris Towers will be answering all of your Twitch questions. Throw them in the chat. They're going to go rapid fire. And then on HQ from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on CBS Sports HQ, you can watch our guys, Dave, Jamie, Heath, break down all the matchups, and every hour they're going to answer fan questions sent in with the hashtag AskFFT. So Sunday, you have any start sit questions, you forgot to put them in the Apple Podcast review, you can ask them on Sunday and we'll get them answered.
We're also going to record another episode of Fantasy Football Today in 5. That's going to come out on Sunday morning, probably around 8:30 or 9 o'clock a.m. Usually it comes out at 3 in the morning because we record overnight or the night before. But we're going to do it actually on Sunday morning instead, just so we can get all that breaking news in. So be on the lookout for that.
And that'll be in the FFT and 5 feed and this main feed. So you have that quick 5-minute podcast. So you're ready to go on Sunday.
That's right. Thank you for reminding me about that. And so everybody's not surprised. Yeah, there'll be another episode you'll see Sunday morning, 5-minute episode from Fantasy Football Today in 5 in both feeds. All right, time for your Apple Podcast questions. This one is from Wake Up 23. Pick one for my flex. Zach Moss, Mark Ingram, Jamison Crowder, Marlon Mack, Anthony Miller.
Mark Ingram, get him in the lineup. Don't even think about it.
Okay, I knew you were going to say that. I think Marlon Mack's also a good option, but
he is. Mack has a good matchup. I just think Mark Ingram, ranked as a low-end RB2 flex option for season long. But this week 1, when Dobbins is just getting worked in a solid matchup, you can't really sit Mark Ingram.
Yeah, I would agree for sure. All right. From Airman Bailey. By the way, Ben has Mark Ingram in every league. So
yep,
you might actually get an extra 1.5 points out of him in your home league.
I might. We'll see how many catches he can get, but I don't care about catches with Mark Ingram.
That was per catch, not carry. I was giving him 15 carries. Sorry. Because I've seen leagues that are like 0.1 per carry.
Oh, it's brutal.
Like that, but not for catch. All right, Airman Bailey, 14-team PPR. Trade Christian McCaffrey and Chris Godwin and get back Zeke, Miles Sanders, and A.J. Green. McCaffrey and Godwin for Zeke, Miles Sanders, and A.J. Green.
The only way I would do it is if I have no one in my last wide receiver spot or no one in flex where A.J. Green could slide in, because I would much rather have McCaffrey and Godwin than Zeke and Miles Sanders.
I don't know if I'd much rather, but A.J. Green's not a good enough third piece for me. Yeah, I agree. I'm just so bummed about this Miles Sanders injury. It's like I've just been waiting so long for him to spread his wings and fly, and now...
And I think he will, but, Chris Godwin's going to spread his wings and fly week 1.
Yeah.
And Miles Sanders could this week, but down the road he will, but I'm not giving up McCaffrey for this.
From B. Cox 25, dear Michael, Fernando, Theodore, and Lincoln. Michael, Fernando. Let's Google this. Prison Break.
I've been told to watch it. Haven't watched it.
Scott White loves it. Can I confidently roll out Jonathan Taylor as my RB2, or should I start Kareem Hunt or James White in that spot?
Confidently, no, because I'd rather have James White in a very good matchup against the Dolphins. And I'd rather have Kareem Hunt too, but Jonathan Taylor does have a ton of upside against the Jaguars. He's only a couple spots below them in my rankings. I'm fine rolling out Jonathan Taylor, but I'd rather have James White.
Yeah, that for me is only in PPR. If it's non-PPR or half PPR, I'm not going with James White.
No, or Kareem Hunt. I would go Taylor in non-PPR or half.
From R.com to PPR, RB2 choices for week 1. Ronald Jones, James White, Antonio Gibson, or Leonard Fournette. Ronald Jones, James White, Gibson, or Fournette. It's PPR.
Bench the Tampa guys. We don't know what's going to happen with them in PPR. Gibson and White are going to catch a ton of passes.
Yeah, I think he needs one, though.
Oh, RB2 choices. Oh, James White. I
Yeah.
don't know enough about Gibson's workload early on, and James White is kind of Gibson's ceiling.
Unless Gibson gets a lot of carries, we just don't know, which I don't expect.
We don't know. I don't expect it early on. I think down the road maybe, but we shall see.
James White is definitely the answer there. From Ray Rye, start 3 in a standard scoring league. Chris Godwin, Will Fuller, Michael Gallup, and Jonathan Taylor.
Well, let's hope you put Fuller in your lineup
Mm-hmm.
because that would have been the move. So it's really between Gallup and Taylor. And I'll go Taylor in a good matchup against the Jaguars. I'm definitely starting Godwin, obviously.
That is a really tough call.
It is, and Amari Cooper was hurting, and now he looks like he's 100%. So I can't go Gallup over Taylor.
Okay. From Turkish Pro, dear Thing 1, Thing 2, and Thing 3 babbling in my headphones.
So they didn't include either of us. That's good.
Please help me pick a flex for week 1. Michael Gallup, Brandon Cooks, or Marvin Jones? I'd go
Marvin Jones.
No. You go in. You're going Marvin Jones because you think Galladay's out?
Out or limited. I don't see Golladay playing a full role, and I'll take Marvin in the number 2 role against Gallup in a number 2 role. I'll take him with the number 2 hurting.
Okay.
I just the number 1 hurting.
Gallup to me, I am not a Gallup guy. I don't have him in many leagues. I hope I'm wrong because I had to draft him in one league, and and I know a lot of people really do like Michael Gallup. This is a good week for Michael Gallup, I think. I mean, number 2 wide receivers did much, much better against the Rams after they got Jalen Ramsey, and it makes sense. They pretty much shut down the number 1 guys, and number 2 guys did very well. So I don't think, like we just said, to get away from Gallup in 2 questions. That doesn't mean you have to fully get away from him. I think he's set up for a good week, but I also think Marvin Jones, like if Golladay plays, I'm going with Gallup. And if Golladay doesn't, then yeah, Marvin Jones is
the other thing with Gallup. I mean, when they played last year, Gallup was not a number 1. Or did they play last year? I don't even know if they played. Last year,
they
did, right?
And Amari Cooper got completely shut down by Ramsey.
I don't know if Ramsey's on Cooper the entire time now that Gallup is almost their best wide receiver. I love Gallup. I don't know that Cooper will get the treatment.
I think he is more likely to get it than Gallup. Let's say that.
Yes,
but
definitely.
You're right. Well, let's see what happens. From Medic Nick, would you stash Jerry Jeudy or Henry Ruggs? I already have Cortland Sutton.
It was Jeudy before the Sutton injury. It's definitely Jeudy now.
From Dark Knight 692, dear Malcolm, Zoe, Jane, and River. I don't know these at all. Do you know who River Phoenix is, Ben?
No.
Okay. Well, I don't think it's him, but he was an actor. Unfortunately, tragically passed. Firefly is the name of the show. But the line in the song Give It Away by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, do you know that song?
Give it away, give it away, give it away now? Yeah.
There's a river born to be a giver. That's about River Phoenix. A nugget for you there. They used to hang out with him. Love the podcast. 10-team half PPR league, 3 receivers. Should I trade Zeke and CeeDee Lamb for DJ Moore and Josh Jacobs? Zeke and Lamb for Jacobs and Moore.
And his other wide receivers are Godwin, Robinson, Ridley. No, I'm not doing it.
You're not doing this? You think it's that big of a drop from Zeke to Jacobs?
It's a drop, but he has Godwin, Allen Robinson, Calvin Ridley.
I'm definitely doing this.
I'm not doing it. I know Heath would do it. I don't know that DJ Moore is a sure thing top 10 wide receiver, and I think the Zeke Jacobs drop is pretty big.
I think DJ Moore is much better than CeeDee Lamb, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
But CeeDee Lamb is his 5th or 6th wide receiver. He wasn't starting Lamb in the first place.
Right. Yeah. You know what? If you do this, I think you try to turn around and make another trade.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Yes. If your league trades a lot and you can do that, the value is there. Just looking at his team construction, I don't know if this is the right move.
All right. I mean, there is something to be said for having the best player in the deal in a 10-team league, and that is Zeke. From Flippy, would you trade Saquon Barkley and Robert Woods for Kenyon Drake and DeAndre Hopkins?
It's another close one. It's pretty even, honestly.
What? This one?
Yes.
This is.
You think the Drake and Hopkins side is dominating?
Absolutely not. I would keep Barkley and Woods.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, yeah,
Good.
yeah.
No, it's Barkley and Woods is the winning side, but I think this is very close. I want to see what Hopkins does this weekend before, trading for him or not trading for him, because I think his value can go one way or the other. He's either DeAndre Hopkins, the stud, or the targets aren't there. It's pretty disappointing, but yeah, no, I think this is a pretty even deal.
I don't get you, man. All right, let's analyze Ben Schrager here. He doesn't want to give up Zeke. He doesn't want to give up Zeke and Lamb for Jacobs and DJ Moore. But he's much closer to giving up Barkley and Woods for Drake and Hopkins.
Yeah.
But the gap between what's bigger, the gap between Moore and Lamb or the gap between Hopkins and Woods?
It's Moore and Lamb.
Right.
But the gap between Saquon and Drake, to me, is bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
Than Zeke and Jacobs.
That's why you should.
This is proving your point.
Yes, exactly. Oh, Shaggy B. All right. Look, it's his first mailbag, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, okay. This makes it even worse of a deal. He has Kyler Murray as his quarterback, and he's trying to trade for Drake and Hopkins.
Oh yeah, no, you can't do that. You can't.
I don't like that. No,
like, Cardinals have to smash it for you to.
I'm fine with stacking Hopkins and Kyler, but having all of them on an offense that's not projected to be top 5 in the NFL, no, thank you.
All right, those are your Apple Podcast questions. Send them in every week. I'm actually looking for more in case we missed any that came in. I will miss.
I sent these to you last night, so I would imagine there's a few from this morning.
Yeah, here we go. This is from Cam in a large town in Illinois. We'll just say Chicago.
Chicago, easy.
10-team half PPR, Le'Veon Bell, DJ Chark, or Will Fuller?
Fuller?
All seriousness, I would have told you to start Fuller.
Yes, but it's Bell. I don't want to start Bell, but it is Bell.
Okay. Rams receivers. Did we read this one from Hugo Robinson? I drafted both Kupp and Woods. Full PPR, 10-team, 2 wide receiver slots, 2 flex. Should I try to move one of them, Kupp and Woods, or just run them both out there every week? They both had 90 catches last year.
I mean, if you could trade them for Juju, Adam Thielen, Calvin Ridley, sure. Get rid of Woods maybe. But I am totally cool starting both those wide receivers. The target share should be pretty immense this year.
Mark Ingram from Dan in the Mitten. I don't know why I said the T's like that. Dan in the Mitten. Mark Ingram or AJ Green, full PPR?
Ingram.
From David Johnson. Oh, no, from Kenny Bibb. Subject David Johnson. What do you think about David Johnson this year?
Well, I thought he was an RB2, and now I think he's a high-end RB2 after what I saw last night. Again, the Chiefs did not have a good run defense last year, so we can't overreact, but being so involved in the pass game last night, being able to score, looking good, and Duke Johnson going down with an injury, David Johnson's locked into my top 15 until Duke Johnson comes back.
Yeah, the Duke Johnson thing is definitely worth watching. The Chiefs' run defense really got a lot better. Like their last 7 games or so, they were really good, but they were also missing one of their starting defensive tackles, Mike Pennell. So you factor that in. Chris Jones is obviously their big dude up front, but Pennell was, I think, a key player. I don't know what kind. He's out. He's suspended for one more game. I don't know what kind of impact that made. I just think that, I'm not a David Johnson guy. He had his longest run since 2018 last night. He broke off a run that was longer than any run he had in all of 2019. I kind of felt like he was done being a really good player, but at least you knew he had the big opportunity, and he's just going to get so many touches that he's a reliable guy. I did say that I would consider selling high. His next 3 games are the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Vikings. And selling high is strictly for anyone that you think is a top 36 player. Anyone you would have taken in the first 3 rounds of the draft. Because if I was redrafting today, I think David Johnson is like a 4th round pick.
Okay, he's like mid-round 3 for me.
Okay, yeah, I've already been wrong about him. I mean, I didn't expect him to do well in week 1, so maybe I'm just too low on David Johnson.
But I mean,
can he hold up? We don't know.
That's a big question. It's the same question with Fuller, but it was super discouraging early on to see how much Duke Johnson was rotating in, and David Johnson did have his left wrist checked out during the game, and that was scary. So that's always going to be a lingering thing. But, the workload will be full until Duke Johnson's back, and I think he's a top 15 running back until that happens.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here on Fantasy Football Today. When we come back, we're doing some regulating, or the fantasy cops, whatever you want to call them. And we're grading your trades and answering more of your start-sit questions at fantasyfootball@cbsi.com. We'll be right back. Ben Trager, I guess I didn't have a chance to talk to you since the games started last night, or the game. What'd you think of football? Did it feel like normal for you?
Yeah, I mean, granted, it was in Kansas City with fans, so that was a big plus, and their fans are loud even though it wasn't full capacity, but it felt like football. It was awesome to see all the guys we were high on, the industry was high on, everyone was high on, do well. That was always encouraging. It wasn't great to see Tyreek Hill in the first half only have a catch, but, he showed who he was. Kelsey looked great. Mahomes looked great. Clyde impressed. So it was very encouraging, and we haven't been wrong yet. And we are going to be wrong very soon. But last night it was just like confirming the offseason things that we had said, which was just football is back. We're excited.
Haven't been wrong. To a degree, we were wrong about Darrell Williams. He was a total dud. I was much higher on Brandon Cooks than I should have been. But I guess
from like a season-long perspective, we didn't think Darrell Williams was going to be a stud.
No.
Brandon Cooks was a low-end wide receiver 3. He still could very well be. But, yes, I mean, those guys did disappoint last night. But in terms of a season-long perspective, Will Fuller was like the biggest surprise given that he wasn't just a deep threat. He led the team in target share. He was super impressive.
Deep threat. I've been trying to say that, I think he showed that in 2018. He's more versatile than that. He just needs to stay healthy. Okay, let's do some regulating. The fantasy cops are back. All right, filling in for Dave Richard, Jamie Asberg, Heath Cummings. It's Adam Azer and Ben Grant. Oh, sorry, I caught you, Ben Grant. Trager. Regulating myself. This is from. We have a name here from. No, I don't have a name. Oh yeah, it's from Chad. Chad from the real home of The Simpsons.
So not Springfield?
Probably, I think like somewhere in Oregon, like Portland or something like that, is where Matt Groening is from, and he named all the characters after streets from there, or something like that. I think that's probably what he's talking about, but we'll see. Dear Len, Steve, Joe, and Patrick. Len, Steve, Joe, and Patrick.
Quarterbacks from Kansas City?
Yep. Mm-hmm. I don't think the Simpsons are from Kansas City. In fact, one of the episodes said they were from Kentucky. Our Fantasy Football Keeper League needs your help. At our yearly draft this year, 7 managers got together in person, while the other 5 drafted remotely. One manager that was drafting remotely lost connection around his 10th pick. When his time was up, a couple of managers that were on site, one being the commish, drafted him the lowest-ranked kicker. In our league, it's always been next best available player in these situations. The main one that pushed it through said 7 managers voted to give him a crappy kicker, when only 3 to 4 even knew what happened. After some heated arguments over it a few days later, the manager who had lost connection said he will be quitting the league after this season. What would you do in this situation in order to punish the offenders and fix the draft issue? On a side note, the manager who was forced into drafting a kicker is well known for some pretty D-bag stuff in the past. So I guess he was getting his comeuppance. All right, so Ben, D-bag manager, auto picks, loses connection because he's not in person. He's drafting remotely. Kind of D-bag commissioner gives him the lowest ranked kicker when the tradition had been give him the best available player. And then he seems to lie about the other managers who were in on this and okay with the decision. Now D-bag manager says, I'm quitting the league after this season. What should we do to make it right?
So there's no real way to punish the people who did this because the commissioner is the one who did it, and it's terrible. The thing to do is to create a written rule, a written constitution. As crazy as it sounds for fantasy football, that's something that needs to happen. And yes, auto pick should be the best available player, but just a verbal agreement about that, it stinks because it's like it's got to happen, but there's no way to 5 days after the draft, the season's already started, make up for this. I think you should have given him the best available player. You didn't, so you probably should redraft from the 10th round on, because the last kicker is awful. The
That's
10th round, you could get Jonnu
good
Smith.
move.
You could
Good
get
move.
a
Yeah, you
quarterback
could
we like.
maybe like a Debo Samuel was there sometimes. The Alexander Madison, something like that. It's a jerk move. All right, so here's a couple things. Number one, or here's like 6 things. I'm gonna rattle them off. Number one, do you have a written constitution in any of your leagues?
Yeah.
You do? Okay, good for you. I do not.
In my 2 leagues that I would say are my most serious leagues, the other leagues are either super casual or through work where, we can blast Jamie Eisenberg, the commissioner, on air if something wrong happens.
All right, so that's number one. Number two, I think one thing you could do is somehow give this manager who got screwed like an extra waiver, like maybe like the top waiver wire priority goes to him. He gets what he wants, and then waivers run accordingly. And then the other thing was, I don't think that an auto pick should be best available player personally. I think it should be like 5th best available player, something like that. Because I get really frustrated because you don't know that this manager is going to draft the best available player. I don't want to reward an auto pick. I don't want to punish it too severely, but I don't think it should be available.
The thing that's super arbitrary about 4th best available player or 5th best or 7th best is I might be drafting next and I might be targeting that 5th best available player.
Maybe, but it's more likely you're targeting the best available player.
Yeah,
I'd say. So
yeah, I guess that's a bigger concept than just this punishment.
You know what you could do?
What's that?
You could pause the draft, and you can say, all right, next 4 fantasy managers in the draft, who do you want? They all get to pick in order, and then you give the auto draft the best available player.
It's such an arbitrary number, though. Is it 4 or is it 7? I think when you pause the draft, you call the guy. Hey, your connection's down. What's going on?
Great idea. You could just call the guy and ask him. But wow, an even better idea from Shraggy B. And this has been regulated, ladies and gentlemen. Let's grade some trades. This is from Noah in the capital of Kansas. You were in high school, you were in middle school 3 years ago, Ben. You should know all the state capitals.
Capital Topeka?
I think it's Topeka. I'm going to look it up for you.
Yeah, look it up.
Give up Chris Carson and A.J. Green. Get Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Do it. Do it in a second.
Rate it.
Grade it A.
Capital of Kansas. Oh, this is the smartest podcast in the world. It is.
Let's go.
All right.
Couldn't tell you where Topeka is, but yes, capital.
I don't even know what country Kansas is in. From Kenneth, in a 2-point per reception, 0.5 point per carry, 5-point bonus for 100 rushing or receiving yards, but not combined. 1 running back, 2 receiver, 2 flex league. Okay. Give up Aaron Jones, get Kenyon Drake. So it's basically, who would you rather have, Jones or Drake? 2 points PPR, 0.5 point per carry, 5-point bonus for over 100 yards, either rushing or receiving.
So the edge on the 2 points per catch is Drake. The edge on the 0.1 per rush is maybe Aaron Jones. And then the 100-yard bonus.
0.5 per carry. Not
0.5 per carry? Okay. Yep. Slight lean Jones there. And then the bonus for 100-plus yards could go either way.
I say Jones probably there.
Probably. I think the 2-point per reception just makes me go Drake. So he received Drake. I'll call it a B+. It's close.
Did you know that in 3 seasons in which Matt LaFleur has been a coach or a coordinator, head coach or offensive coordinator, a running back has been second on the team in targets all 3 years?
Wow.
Yeah. It was Todd Gurley, Deion Lewis, Aaron Jones.
And they've got no one else to throw to.
No, I still see Kenyon Drake getting more catches, but we'll see if that streak ends. Yeah, look, you were drafting Drake ahead of Jones. We were drafting Drake ahead of Jones. The scoring doesn't change as much. If anything, it favors Drake.
Yeah.
So, B+. All right, here's some starter sits from Jeff. David Montgomery or James White, half PPR?
Half PPR makes it very, very close, but I still am going to stay away from Montgomery. I'll go White.
Just a little nervous about the injury?
Super nervous about getting eased in. It was an injury that no one expected him to be back this week, so I don't really know how big of a role he's going to have. We know White's role. Half PPR makes it closer, but I'll go White.
Yeah, because David Montgomery may have 0 catches. I'm one of the few lucky fantasy managers who's starting both Mike Evans and Kenny Golladay.
Oh,
Who do I fill in? Who do I fill them with? Or who fill in for them with if they do miss the game? I've got Sterling Shepard, Jamison Crowder, Preston Williams, and Brian Edwards. I could play 2 or 3 of them. If it's 2, then I'd use Zach Moss.
so if Evans and Golladay do play, and even if they're going to be limited, I'm starting those 2 over any of the other options. But let's say they're out. Crowder's my number 1, Preston Williams is my number 2, and then Zach Moss is my 3 on that list. So I'd flex Zach Moss.
All right. Thank you, Andrew, for the question. From Garrett, Marlon Mack or Jonathan Taylor, PPR? Who has the higher ceiling and floor?
Taylor's the ceiling, Mack's the floor, but I lean Taylor in a great matchup where I think
Really?
both of them are going to get a ton of carries. Game script's going to be in their favor. I'll go with the upside guy.
All right. I'm going to go with Mack. I just think it's safer. I just can't see Mack not getting a lot of carries, where I could see Taylor not getting a lot of carries.
I guess with this matchup, I see it differently just because I think they're going to run 25 plus times. I think in a matchup moving forward, when it's not as perfect as this one really is, Mack's going to be the safer play and the lock for the carries. But if I think they're both going to get 10 plus, I'll go Taylor.
Okay, and also half PPR, Van Jefferson, BC Johnson, Chris Thompson, or Steven Sims?
Ugh, Chris Thompson.
I'll take Sims or Thompson. It was between those 2. From Paul, Steven Sims is available. Is he a better option than Jalen Reagor or Curtis Samuel or Laviska Shenault or Larry Fitzgerald?
Definitely better than Larry Fitzgerald, better than Curtis Samuel. I prefer Reagor and Shenault, especially Reagor.
I can't trust Reagor this week. Like the same way you can't trust Montgomery.
Okay. So you would play Shenault?
I would play Sims. I mean, they don't have a lot of wide receiver depth. So he's throwing to 2 players, and one of them Steven Sims. And I think Sims is, 5 for 60.
But you would drop Fitzgerald for Sims, right? If that's the question he's asking.
Oh, yeah, but Fitzgerald's on the waiver wire. Those are waiver wire guys.
Other targets?
I think he only has Reagor and Sims. He can pick up Samuel, Laviska Shenault, and Fitzgerald.
Okay, yeah. We'll play Sims over Reagor, but better than all of those other waiver wire options.
Yeah, but I would really want to pick up Laviska Shenault. I'm interested in every one of those wide receivers except for Fitzgerald. Curtis Samuel is interesting to me, but I think Reagor's the best one to have on your team. The best one to start this week to me is Sims, but my goodness,
toss up for me, really.
Yeah. From Sam,
Shenault is my favorite stash though of all of those.
Over Reagor.
Yeah.
Okay. From Sam, Ruggs or Deshaun Jackson?
Deshaun.
From Anthony, I think getting your RB1 and or RB2's backup can be a good thing, but if you draft well enough, should you? For example, I have Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders, and Josh Jacobs. I have no backups because I have Joshua Kelly, Chase Edmonds, Chris Thompson, and J.K. Dobbins. It's a dynasty league. A.J. Dillon was just cut in my league, though. I feel like I hurt my roster taking up another space, even if it could be a good handcuff. Oh, it's a dynasty league? You have got to get A.J. Dillon.
Get Dillon. It's over Chris Thompson.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Drop Thompson for Dillon.
From Wayne. Hey, Rich, Tim, Jerry, and Charles. Tim. Who the hell are they? Who are these people? Half PPR, start 3 wide receivers. I have Cortland Sutton and Mike Evans and T.Y. Hilton. I started Mecole Hardman last night in case both were ruled out. If both are active, which is a safer play, or do I just go with James Washington? So Sutton,
I wouldn't go with Washington.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Washington is that he plays Monday, so at least
So, yes, you have Sutton and Washington ready, and if Sutton's out, you go Washington. But, if they say Sutton is playing and he's good to go, you're playing Sutton. And honestly, if they say Sutton might be a little limited, I'd probably still rather play him over James Washington. assuming Deontay Johnson's active.
Yeah, I hope I hope by the time the Giants Steelers games start, you know about Cortland Sutton. Hey, you're doing FFT and 5 on Monday night, aren't you?
Yeah, we'll be there at 1 a.m., 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's a late one. The only game throughout the year that I may not see the end of is that first week Monday Night Football game 2. Sometimes I fall asleep in the third or fourth quarter, but not this time. Staying
Not
up
this week.
15 and 5 afterwards. Yeah. So
And yeah, Denver, Tennessee. I mean, what better way to end your week 1?
They always pick a crappy game, I feel. It's usually the Raiders. This year it's not. And what is with Monday Night Football just is so bad. Like the Steelers, Giants, really thought
I know.
I know you want ratings in New York and that in Pittsburgh, like they're kind of marquee teams.
But there are some great games this week.
Yeah, Monday Night Football doesn't get the first choice.
No, not at all.
But what do they get? Like the 15th choice? Giants, Steelers, Raiders, Broncos. I mean, Titans, Broncos. Come on. All right, Garrett wants to know, pick one, half PPR. Chris Thompson, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Steven Sims.
Half PPR, I'm still going Thompson.
Okay.
J-Jaw is nothing to me, and Sims is, a dart throw just like Thompson really is, and Thompson's going to catch the ball. We know he'll have at least 4 catches.
Look, it's a good setup for Thompson. They're going to be trailing, and they're going to be throwing. And Minshew likes to dump it off. So maybe Thompson might be a better player than Sims here. From Colin, dear Castor Troy, Ben Sanderson, Spider. These are Nicolas Cage characters. Do you know who Nicolas Cage is?
I know who Nicolas Cage is. I don't know these characters, really.
I know Castor Troy's from Face Off, a hilariously stupid movie.
Perfect.
Last year, I sold out to win my championship, but I fell short due to bad situations and aging players. I had to go young this year. I have Burrow, Akers, Gibson, James Robinson, Hunt, Tariq Cohen, DJ Moore, AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs, Ruggs, Chenault, Ertz, 10-team half PPR or 10-team PPR 5-keeper. When using this approach in a keeper league, are you more likely to be very patient on these rookies and hold off even more on trades that would send your draft picks away? I've never missed the playoffs in the 8 years of this league, but only one championship, so I want to build dominance. Thank you for your help. Adam, you're my idol.
Interesting.
Yikes.
But yes, I think in this strategy, you do have to have patience, but you also are trying to win the championship this year, and you have a ton of young talent. So, if one of Gibson, Akers, Robinson does really well this year, and you need to fill some holes with some win now guys, you have enough young talent with, AJ Brown, DJ Moore, Joe Burrow, that you can move one of them. That's fine. But yes, there needs to be a lot of patience with this, especially if it's a keeper league where you're keeping more than 3 players.
So he's keeping 5 players, and I would say the 3 players that if I were you, I would definitely not trade are Cam Akers, DJ Moore, and AJ Brown.
Yep, agreed.
But you've
Ruggs
got
is close there, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to trade Ruggs, but if you can trade Ruggs for Adam Thielen or, somebody that's a stud this year, like Tyler Lockett, but is not a rookie, somebody that's basically playing for next year, you give that fantasy manager Ruggs, you get someone that can help you this year, then you're fine. You have enough keeper options.
Yep.
You figure it out.
Agreed.
All right, from Corey and Michelle. Half PPR, 2 wide receivers and a flex. Golladay, Beckham, Chark, Marquise Brown, Cam Akers, Anthony Miller.
First 3 for me: Golladay, Beckham, and Chark. Brown would
be if Golladay doesn't play.
It's Brown as the third if Golladay doesn't play, or if Golladay is going to be limited, we'll go with Brown. From
Christian, who you ever seen someone sign like their signatures TIA?
Thanks in advance.
It must be. Right? I've never seen it before.
I've seen it on tweets. So yeah, that's like the modern day signature. Yeah,
would know that. Yeah, you're very cool. You're my idol. Who would you rather start week 1, and who would you rather roster season long? Would you roster 2 if possible? Hooper, Jonnu Smith, or Jarwin?
I don't want to play any of them week 1.
Really?
I'll play Hoop.
We kind of like the podcast likes Jarwin a lot.
I love Jarwin. I don't know that week one's the best time to use him against the Rams. Jarwin
What is your thinking on this Rams-Cowboys game? It feels like you are expecting fewer points than everyone else.
I don't think it's going to be a showdown blowout at all. And I do think that Zeke's going to have a really, really good game. There's going to be too many options in the Dallas pass game that are going to disappoint because I think Zeke is going to do really well. And I don't think it's going to be a 35-28 game.
Okay. All right. So what would you do this week and what would you do this season? Hooper, Jonnu, and Jarwin.
Playing Hooper this week and this season, I prefer Jarwin. So if you're going to maybe hold on to two, it's Hooper for the week and Jarwin long term. But I do like Jarwin and Jonnu's upside.
From Jace, Marlon Mack, Kareem Hunt, or Marquise Brown, half PPR?
Half PPR, I'll go Mack.
Kenyon Drake. So Hugo from Portland got Kenyon Drake for 50 fab points. I have both Woods and Kupp. Would you start Kenyon Drake over one of the Rams receivers?
I wouldn't. I'd start both Rams receivers.
Yeah. From Angela, I have Gronk, but I need a solid backup. Should I drop Chris Herndon for Greg Olsen or Will Dissly?
I don't want either of the Seattle tight ends, so keep holding on to Herndon, and you may start Herndon in a week or two.
Good job, Ben Schrager. Way to go.
That was fun heading into the weekend.
Sorry I called you Ben Gretsch, man.
It's all right. A lot of respect for Ben Gretsch.
Yeah.
Love the guy.
Love Ben Gretsch. Well, we want to thank everybody for listening. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. Sunday morning, you have a Fantasy Football Today in 5 episode dropping in both this feed and FFT in 5. Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern, tune into HQ. 11:30 a.m. Eastern, tune into Twitch, twitch.com/FF Today. We're live for an hour there answering your questions. And we've got hashtag AskFFT on Twitter all throughout the weekend. So be on the lookout. Make sure you're following Ben and me and Dave and Jamie and Heath and Chris Towers and our fantasy account and all that. Hashtag AskFFT. Looking forward to answering your questions. Thanks so much for helping us on our mailbag show. We'll talk to you on Sunday morning and then on Sunday night to recap week 1. See ya.
Want more of the Fantasy Football Today podcast and nonstop year-round fantasy advice? It's simple. Hit the subscribe button and hang with us all throughout the year.